It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all you need. Looking for a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the nenext level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device on your iPhone, Alexa, Android, or your smartphone, and subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. We're here with a wonderful lady from Redondo Beach, California. She's a rock and roll violinist, pretty much taking a lead just like guitarist Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, as demonstrated right here today. One of my favorites as well, too. She's played with a number of musicians. She's played with Monkey Finger, Kevin Sousa, and Feed the Kitty, to name a few, which is a perfect name, by the way. He also She's played with Walter Trout from the Walter Trout Band, John Mayall, and more, and a lot of violinists and great musicians she's played with many great groups, and she'll also play a little bit for us in a very unique platform, looking to make a major break in the music industry. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from beautiful California, the ultimate rock and roll violinist, the Jimmy Page of the violins, playing sweetly, Emily V. Emily, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. So you're basically a rock and roll violinist, described as a guitarist taking the lead like Jimmy Page, like in Led Zeppelin, as you appropriately wear here, by the way, one of my favorites. And you play violin at 11 years old, awarded a scholarship to California, Long Beach, and you travel with the Addicts, play with Monkey Finger, Kevin Sousa, Feed the Kitty, and more. And you've played with musicians like Walter Trout, who play with the Walter Trout Band, John Mayall, Ken Heat, and also David Shelton from Don Felder, Steve, I can't pronounce his name, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, David Gilmour, and more, Mike Mandolin from the Goo Goo Dolls, and more. And before we get into all that, tell us how you got started.
I started playing violin when I was I was 11 when I finally got lessons, and I asked my parents for lessons. I was 5 when I started asking my parents for lessons, and then my mom was like, okay, she's serious. We're going to get her lessons. And so we started lessons. I was 11. I was about to turn 12. And that was it. I've just always wanted to play. And I started in the classical world and did a lot of my homework before I decided to sell my soul to rock and roll.
I think that sounds very appropriate. And what was that one moment influence you selling your soul into rock and roll?
What was the one moment?
Yeah, precise.
There's a couple moments, but my dad has an amazing LP collection, and he actually showed me the band It's a Beautiful Day, if you know them, with violinist David LaFlame. And I remember listening to, Whitebird, their hit, Whitebird. And I remember really loving the violin being in the rock and roll setting, being like the main instrument, not being a background string instrument. And so that would probably be the moment where I thought, I could do this. This is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I was thinking about it, too. And I remember watching some Led Zeppelin videos, and Jimmy Page uses the violin as kind of like a guitar as well, too. And that's amazing, too. And it sounds like you kind of took up almost like a Jimmy Page in a sense.
Kind of, yeah. I love Jimmy Page. As you can see, I'm wearing a Led Zeppelin shirt.
And who are some of your other favorite artists and singers and violinists growing up as well?
Growing up, I really loved Stefan Grappelli, who's a gypsy jazz violinist, and also Regina Carter. She's a jazz violinist. Those are the two of the main violinists that I really grew up listening to, that I kind of got into jazz for a little while. Thought I wanted to be a jazz violinist, but quickly I realized that I didn't I didn't want to be a jazz violinist. But I appreciate it and I love it, and I love jazz music. And Jimi Hendrix is a big influence on me, Jimmy Page. I listened to a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan. My big brother really introduced me to a lot of the classic blues, and then he also always listened to Stevie Ray Vaughan. But man, I've been exposed to all sorts of music because I had a brother that was really into Metallica and Black Sabbath, and my other brother's into, the Beastie Boys and Sublime, and my parents grew up listening to all the classic rock and roll. The Beatles are one of my all-time favorite bands.
That is amazing, too. And, of course, the violin is also associated with classical music. How much percentage, you say, listen to classical music?
How much did I listen to classical music?
Correct, yeah, about percentage-wise.
When I grew up, when I was studying violin, I listened to classical violin. When I went to school for music, and I listened. Not very much, actually. I don't listen to classical music that much. I appreciate it and I love it, and some of it I really, really love. But I'm definitely a rock and roller.
That's amazing too. And you also played with the Addicts as well too. And how'd you get involved with the Addicts?
You know what? I don't even know actually how they knew about me. But they came to one of my gigs. I had this little tiny gig in Seal Beach. And I think that I can't remember if Pete called me or emailed me and said that he was going to come to a show or something like that. But he didn't tell me which show he was going to come to, something like that. And so they sat in the very back and they watched me perform. And I didn't even know what he looked like. I didn't know who I was looking out for. And he approached me at the very end of the gig and he said, hey, in his English accent, he said, I'm Pete D, and we want you to come play with us and come audition and come go on tour with us. And I was like, okay.
It's like, never say no.
Never say no. Never say no. Yeah, that was quite an experience playing with those guys.
and of course, speaking of experience as well, too, you play with Monkey Finger, Kevin Sousa, and Feed the Kitty. What was it like working with them?
I still work with all those guys. Those are all kind of more local bands. They're awesome. I'm really, truly blessed to play with the guys that I get to play with. Are extremely talented, extremely sweet, intelligent, fun. They're all these little families that I play with, and we all have each other's backs, and we're all kind of like this little musical family, and I truly love it.
That is amazing, too. And we'll also talk about your experiences playing with a number of musicians, playing in a number of famous bands. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, Deezer, Stitcher, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device and subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. We're here with rock and roll violinist Emily V out of the Redondo Beach, California area. She talked about how she got into rock and roll violin and being awarded a scholarship, and also touring with the Addicts and play with Monkey Finger, Kevin Sousa, Feed the Kitty, and more, and being likened to Jimmy Page as well, too. You also recorded with a number of performers as well, too. You performed with Walter Trout from the Walter Trout Band. He played with John Mayall, Canned Heat, and Willie K, Johnny Avila from Oingo Bingo, and also guys from Crosby, Stills, and Nash, part of their tour, David Gilmour, Loggins and Messina, I mean, Blind Melon, I mean, Google Dolls, just a huge list. You can just tell me about some of the musicians you worked with and what's it like working with them?
Every experience has been awesome. I got to play with blues guitarist Walter Trout. A few years ago was the first time he treated me as a guest musician on his show, and I got to come up and play with him and his band. His band is amazing, and I was in a band with some of his bandmates, his current bandmates, and so I've stayed friends with all of them. I was able to meet Walter Trout at a local show, and then he invited me to come play, and he is such a sweetheart. His whole band is amazing, so that was great. I've gotten to play with Lucas Nelson, Willie Nelson's son.
Nice.
Lucas Nelson and the Promise of the Real. And those guys are, boy, talk about an amazing band and amazing group of brothers right there, because their musicianship is through the roof, and the way they perform and their energy. And I got to go up and play with them. I got to play with them in San Luis Obispo at the Fremont Theater, which is pretty cool because that's actually my hometown. I'm from Atascadero, so that's the area that I'm from. And I got to go get on stage and play with Lucas. That was another really amazing, positive experience. Most recently, I've got to play with, I got to get up on stage at St. Rock in Hermosa Beach with Blind Melon. And I got to play with them. Again, I can't say anything bad about anybody I've ever played with. Like, everything's been fun, positive, and everybody, I'm able to just gel really well with the group and stuff. And so I don't know, it's always wild, it's always different, but it's really, really fun.
It sounds like you love the tour and go on stage. And do you have any plans for upcoming tour in 2020?
Not yet, but I'm hoping to. I've had some people ask me to go to Europe, and I've had some people ask me to go to Canada. So nothing is actually set in stone, so I don't want to get anybody too excited. But so that's what could be happening in 2020.
Also, do you have an album that's coming up in the works? I know you're working on another album as well, too, because we noticed you had some videos on there, too, and we'd like to have you play a tune or two for us. Do you have any albums or singles coming up as well you could share with us? I
have actually, I guess the cat's out of the bag, because I've got a couple things recorded. I've worked with Johnny Avila from Oingo Boingo, recording a couple things, and I've got a couple more tunes in the works at my home studio here. The goal would be to be releasing some of that in 2020, I hope.
That'd be great too. And do you mind, maybe playing a tune or two for us?
Sure. Let me grab my axe.
Okay, great. And while you're doing that, I'd like to remind everybody, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, Deezer, Stitcher, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device and subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. We're here with Emily V out of the Redondo Beach, California area. She's a rock and roll violinist and pretty much similar to being like guitarist Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin, taking the lead just like that. And right now she's going to be playing a couple for us, and let's go ahead and have it here. And I love that kind of violin, and you can just tell us about this unique model here.
Yeah, this is, I know that the listeners can't see this, but this is a totally custom violin that was actually going to be thrown away.
Ooh.
And I rescued it, and I sent it to an artist in New York. Her name is Cindy Guitars on Instagram. She's amazing. Mm-hmm. And she does custom guitars. But I saw I saw her work and I thought, ooh, I would love to have something done on a violin. So I messaged her. I said, have you ever done a violin before? She goes, no. I said, would you do my violin? She says, absolutely. So I mailed it off to New York, and this is what she did for me.
Wow, that is something. And all along we thought you bought it. That is amazing. Wow.
So when I got it back, I took it to my luthier. I had everything is custom. I have like guitar. My tuning pegs are not traditional violin pegs where they're in by pushing them in. These are like guitar tuning pegs. I've got an LR Bags pickup. Everything's kind of custom on here, and it's my baby. I play it all the time.
Wow. And let's hear this customized baby right here on the Mike Wagner Show. Emily V.
I'm going to tune up real quick.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I had it in a different tuning from earlier today.
Nah, don't worry about it. It's sounding great. I could tell. So let's go ahead and have at it here. Very impressive. Wow.
Just a little jam. It's different because usually I play with a band, so I got people behind me, but that's just a little bit of the wah pedal that I love to use.
Wow, that is something. And can you maybe play a quick piece that everybody's familiar with?
Oh, gosh. Think of what I could play right now.
Don't worry about it. It'll come back later as well too. But we'll definitely have you back on in 2020 as long as you give us an update to what you got for us. We're looking forward to what you have and everything. And from what it sounds like, it's sounding great. It's like just so unique and very groundbreaking. Really appreciate what you do.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it is. It's very different.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, just a few more things as well, too. And we know you have a relatively short career. You've toured with a number of musicians and, the like and everything. What do you consider most defining moment in your career?
That's a great question. I think probably, I went to school for music. I went to Long Beach State as a musician. And I was a classical violin major. And I think probably going to school and studying music was amazing. I know all my theory and I could read sheet music and all of that. But I think that while I was in school and I was working my way through school, I was a waitress. And next door to the place that I was a waitress, there was an Irish pub. And I used to go over there after my shift as a waitress, and I would still be in my work uniform. And I would go over there, and they had live music. Actually, they still do, but they had live music, I think, about 5 nights a week, maybe 5 to 7 nights a week. And because when I went to school, I thought I was gonna like meet all these musicians and be able to be really creative in doing what I really wanted to do. But it wasn't so much that way, because as a classical violinist, everybody was like very rigid in the classical world, and, all the jazz musicians were very rigid in the jazz world. And so I didn't feel like there was too much space to really be too creative. But when the defining moment, I would say, was going to that Irish pub. I went there probably 3, 4, 5 nights a week, and I met every musician that played at that bar. And they eventually found out that I played violin, and they all invited me to come play with them. And I sat in and I played with all of these people. And that was really the time that I started to meet local musicians. I created my first band down in Southern California. And that was the moment, those were the moments where I was really starting to learn to like really improvise, to like really feel what it was like to be on stage and play with different types of bands and different kinds of music and play on the violin. Because as a classical violinist, you do not learn how to improvise. You read everything on sheet music. And so that was the time where I was like, okay, I sucked. But that was where I started to pick up my craft a bit more. I'd already been playing for a long time, but that was where, I was playing through an amp and I had a pickup. And then eventually I got my wah pedal and I started putting together my pedal board, and I got a different amp, and just, it's just been an evolution. And I can't wait to see where else I'm going to evolve and with who, because there's so much for me to learn still. And I'm so excited about that.
It sounds like you have an exciting career. We're looking forward to having you on and give us an update to what you do. You're sounding great and everything else. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
You mean as a musician?
It can be anything. Be creative.
God. I don't even know if I could say just one.
It can be a few or several. That's fine.
I would say, well, one person in particular. Well, of course, my parents. Of course, my mom and dad. My mom and dad are some of the hardest working people I've ever known in my life, and they're both creative and both hardworking. And I get a lot of my drive from my parents, from my mom. My mom's an artist. So for sure them. I would say also my very first violin instructor, because she saw in me that I wanted to be this alternative violinist. And she said, just learn the technique now, because you can do whatever you want to do on the violin. And that was the first person I came to study violin with. I mean, that really opened up, that really gave me the encouragement to just go for it and do whatever I wanted on the violin, in combination with my parents being very open and creative and supportive. So I would say those people for sure. But along the ways, the people that I've gotten to play with, Johnny Avila, I would say, has been a big influence and a big support of me, the bass player from Oingo Boingo. All the guys I've ever gotten to play with, I don't know, I could just pick and choose these different people that have influenced me and put a positive spin on what I do.
That is amazing, too. What's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
I would say, if you want to do it, do it. just do it. I mean, we live in a world now where pretty much everybody's got access to the internet. At least here, in the States, you've got access to the internet. You've got access to learning how to do things on YouTube. You've got access to speaking to higher up musicians that you wouldn't normally through social media. I mean, if you need help doing something, you just reach out to those musicians. If you're having trouble doing something, everything is possible. Literally anything is possible. I truly believe that anything is possible.
That's a really good idea as well, too. And Emily, just want to say a big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? And where can people just listen to your music?
I'm really big on Instagram and Facebook. So on Instagram, Emily V Official. On Instagram, on Facebook, Emily V Music. Those are the two main platforms. I have a website, emilyvmusic.com. Feel free to send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. I'm pretty good about replying to that. I also post all my shows up there. I post a lot of videos. My YouTube channel is up, but I'm actually working on that, so I'm not really advertising that just yet. I'm working on that in 2020 to put up some more music there, too, as well.
That's great. We're looking forward to it. And Emily, just want to say a big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. We love what you're playing. Looking forward to you having again soon. And do us a favor, keep us up to date in your great career.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.